Nikhil, welcome. So before we start, would love to give our viewers a little bit about your background and your experience over the last few years.
Certainly. Thanks for having me. Much appreciated. I was with Kohl for about 4.5 years, primarily focused on personalization, marketing automation, and cart and checkout experiences on the digital side, of course. Prior to Kohl's, I was with Symantec as part of their Norton.com e-commerce platform, and prior to that with Yahoo and eBay, doing mostly e-commerce related work. But personalization has been a common theme across all my different stints at different companies. So I really enjoy working on personalization, and that's sort of my passion.
Excellent. I think of yourself as one of the pioneers in what I think about as in-session machine learning and what you can do with it. So talk to me a little bit about your experiences there and what you were trying to do and what sort of you achieved with that.
So at a broad level, differentiated experiences is a transformative way to personalize in real time to a visitor's unique shopping journey. So as you can imagine in a retail situation, typically we just assume a common pattern for a given customer, but that happens not to be true, right? Sometimes the customer is in a hurry to make a decision and wants to just get the things they want in a hurry, right? So urgency is of essence there. In some cases, they are safety driven, especially let's say if they're buying a car seat for their child. So safety is paramount in those scenarios. And then there could be other, shopping journeys which have different nuances. It could be the same person, and they may have the same sort of overall tendencies, but they do have a narrower focus and maybe unique focus for a given shopping journey. So how do we tap into those? How do we understand what those nuances are with this current shopping journey to personalize in real time? So over the years, that's sort of been my focus, especially at Kohl's. And we came up with a solution called dynamic real-time offers. And that was based on identifying an on-the-fence shopper, a shopper who is not yet quite sure that they want to make a purchase, and incentivizing them based on what we feel is their current shopping journey insights, and giving them a meaningful offer to have them convert. There were use cases that we looked at in terms of, hey, we probably think this customer is in need of value amplification. So we would message them about the value of the product in terms of, hey, this is a product that is selling fast, or this product is on sale. And those were the sort of insights that we leveraged and found a way to embed in the experience to make it more compelling, more personal in that specific customer journey.
Yes, and I think what you're talking about is you are predicting a whole range of consumer behavior in the moment, right? And that predictive capability is really leading you to deploy these experiences in that moment. What are the things about the consumer behavior is the most valuable in session?
Yeah, so two things that I've used extensively in my experience. One is in the current shopping journey, is it a more value focused journey in the sense that is price a big factor or the only factor or a major factor? Or is it the selection of the product? Is the product itself, some uncertainty around that? So if we could be proactive in determining whether a customer is price sensitive or product sensitive, you amplify different aspects of the product or the value to help the customer make the decision. So those were the two key insights that we used, both historical assessment of the customer, which is sort of the typical aspects in terms of propensity scores and whatnot, but also real time, because like I said in the beginning, each journey is kind of unique, even though the customer might be same. And then using those real-time signals, not just based on the current shopper's journey, but also broadly what is happening in real time right now things like weather, things like maybe even their location. Uh, and so those are signals that we have used to try and get more personal with personalization as part of this differentiated experiences.
Excellent. What we are talking about, you and I are talking about right now, is in session, mid funnel, and the value therefore it creates. Talk to me a little bit about the trade off between using it at the top of the funnel, which has been done for years and years and years, and those predictive capabilities mid funnel. How does one make that determination, and what is sort of the value trade off thereof?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at top of the funnel, you're likely to have a lot less real-time data
Mm-hmm.
about the customer, and you might have really no data about the customer because it could be an unknown customer, new customer, first-time customer, whatever you want to call it, right? So top of the funnel is a bit of a challenge, right? And most of the time, the typical pattern is let's use what I call wisdom of the crowd personalization.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the most popular item for newbie customers? We tend to sort of use those kinds of insights to deliver experiences top of the funnel. As you go a little more deeper into getting the middle of the funnel, you have some journey aspects of the customer. They could have viewed certain products. They could have engaged with certain parts of the site that would give you some clues as to what the shopping journey is. And those insights, along with if we know the customer really well, when you put them together, could create a compelling experience. So definitely, you have a lot more data, both real time and historical, as the customer goes deeper into the funnel, as opposed to in the beginning part of the funnel. Now, at the top of the funnel, a lot of new data points have been used, like location, is one thing that is critical, especially with people on their mobile devices. Weather factors in quite a bit nowadays. So in addition to just the wisdom of the crowd, knowing where the customer is and what weather is in their whether they're experiencing could be two great inputs that could allow you to be more personal in the moment for sort of top of the funnel and personalization.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the focus has moved more and more towards mid-funnel engagement, loyalty, in-session behavior as technologies have caught up to being able to react to those events as they're happening. Those capabilities are becoming more mature in regards to event-driven, in regards to, mapping the genome, as we call it, right? What's the trade-off between, what we've seen typically being deployed for marketing versus this mid-funnel type things, which are a lot more complex? How do you as a product owner enable that?
Right. I think if I put my marketing hat on, right, there is the acquisition funnel and there is a retention funnel, right? And I think more and more retailers like Kohl's are paying equal attention to retention as they did with acquisition, right? As the landscape is changing, it's very clear that retaining our existing customers is paramount.
Yes.
And the cost of acquisition is also going up because customers have lots of choices. And we're competing with some really, normal retailers are competing with some really entrenched players like Amazon and Walmart and what have you. Obviously, embedded in retention is loyalty in the way you spoke about it, right? So traditionally, what has been happening is, marketing creates some sort of life cycle segments. They are manually curated based on some data pull from their data marts or big data systems, and they launch campaigns against those customer audiences. But there is no feedback loop, and everything is very manual, and it results in a lot of customers just falling through the cracks, right? With the advent of automation and machine learning, both of these aspects are getting completely automated in the sense that you have life cycle segments being automatically managed. When a customer is moving from, let's say, a newbie customer to a retained customer, the system is automatically aware. It's sort of maintaining the state of the customer, right? And if the customer isn't moving in the right direction, triggers are sent out. or signals are sent out, and these signals can be then acted upon through experiential changes or incentives that you want to deploy. So that's sort of the newer way of doing things. It's no longer about doing the heavy lifting of building these segments, targeting these segments, running campaigns. This is a point that I want to emphasize is people are moving away from campaigns at large. So imagine a world without campaigns, right? Where things are completely automated and no customer slips through the crack, right? Once we get the signals from these automated systems that leverage machine learning, what are the tactics that we should put to try and gain the confidence of the sort of a customer who is about to churn? And it depends on which part of the life cycle they are. It could depend upon customer life cycle value. It could depend on their propensity for certain things. But that's sort of the paradigm shift I'm seeing on the marketing side, especially when it comes to retention. But when it comes to acquisition, like you said, the data is a big challenge. A company that I had a situation where I had worked on acquisition funnel. We use third-party data and first-party data to try enrich the experiences when it comes to acquisition. But it's all about how much data you have that will allow you to personalize, right? And the fact that data isn't quite commonly available and people are sensitive to security concerns about their personal data being shared and whatnot, I think acquisition is going to be a lot more challenging going forward. Retention is going to be a lot more easier. And typically marketing people will tell you that every dollar you invest in retention it requires 5x that much money to acquire a customer, right? So retaining a customer is a lot cheaper. Yes. Primarily because you have so much data about the customer and it's a lot more easier. You have the ability to influence.
I love the notion of the campaign-less world because essentially what you're saying is that the ML or machine learning or the intelligence determines what the state of the customer is. And we will have predefined actions for each state. So it's the state that determines the action, and the state is determined by intelligence, behavior, location, weather, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, near real time actions that the customer is taking or maybe not taking, and of course the historical information that you have about the customer. Yes. So I think that's a really powerful area where lots of investment is happening right now.
Yes. And I'm assuming this vision of the world, this campaign-less vision of the world is actually omni-channel, so cross-channel longitudinal views, right? So
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. In the beginning, the focus of marketing was how can I just convert the customer right now, right? But it's never, from a marketing and retention standpoint, it's about the next transaction and the next transaction, not necessarily about the current transaction. So how can the experiences be modified in real time through the concept I call differentiated experience that'll allow for that to happen? What can I do for Debjani right now? I know she's interested in this purse, but I want her to come back and maybe buy more, maybe something more.
Yeah.
And what can I do in this session to influence that, right? Yeah. Not just the current purchase, but think about the future purchase as well.
Yes. And the notion truly is that in this purchase, context decays with time. And the context that is immediate really is the most powerful in determining what that user wants to do in this moment. Yeah. So if you can harness that really gives you the highest ROI in the type of experiences you deploy.
That's right.
So what's next, Nikhil? We think about at ZineOne the next generation cloud as being predictive, ML driven, real time, event driven, location driven. If you were designing sort of the next generation cloud, what would it be?
Yeah, I think from an customer experience point of view, I think there is this whole thing about conversational experiences now, right? When I say conversational experiences, I mean more than just the Amazon echoes of the world or series of the world having a voice recognition way of servicing customer requests. It's more than that. What I mean there is, I know, for example, there were some tests done by Amazon to recognize patterns of the customer's voice. Is the customer's voice sounding stuffy? Maybe they have a common cold, and maybe you could recommend some common cold medication. So getting more personal with the conversations. Another, for example, CoverGirl has this virtual try experience where somebody could try out a makeup with their face in a virtual setting. And conversational experiences go beyond just digital. It is also what can happen inside a store or inside outside of the digital space. So that is one area I feel like lots of innovation is happening. The other piece is what I call empathy at scale. So how can we become even more personal with personalization? So what I mean by that is to empathize means to actually know what the customer is feeling and to sort of be predictive about it, right? One sort of really simple example is I think Amazon does this. Is if for example they're unable to deliver a certain product on the time frame that they have committed, they promise aggressive shipping, right? For some reason the product doesn't arrive. They know it's not going to arrive in the time frame that they promised. So they will just cancel the order, refund the value of the order, and maybe give you an incentive or a recommendation for a different product, right? All done proactively. Again, not really machine learning, but it is empathy at scale, right? You're trying to do the simple things before the customer can experience any negativity, right? So I think that is where the next focus is going to be. How can we get empathy at scale and use that as part of personalization?
That's amazing, Nikhil. So, in a campaignless world, empathy at scale, the world could do a lot with empathy these days with everything that's going on.
That's right.
That's awesome. And I wish you all the best in your journey as you work on some of these very cutting edge things.
Certainly. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.